Hi everyone, in this clip we are going to try on solving a couple of questions that are relevant to sine and cosine of obtuse angles. If you have learned about the basic of trigonometry before, you must have been encountered these acronyms, SOHCAHTOA. But remember that time you only applied this to right-angled triangles. In this section, you will also learn that trigonometry formula is actually applied on the acute and obtuse angle of a triangle. Yeah, so let's look at these formula. Sine A equals sine 180 degrees subtract with A. Okay, so actually when we find the pair of this, obviously this is going to be either acute or obtuse angle. So A and 100A subtract with A has the same value of sine, yeah, and both of them will be positive. Okay, but it's not going to be the same if you're going to apply the formula in cosine. So cosine A will be negative cos of either its acute or obtuse angle. It depends on the pairing. Yeah. One thing for sure, cosine angle A will be positive if it's an acute angle, and it will be negative if it's an obtuse angle. And I'm sure that your reference book and your teacher has given the explanation about that. So let's try on solving that in questions. Here we are asked to solve sine 96 degrees without using calculator. Yeah, but the data is over here. So let's try on solving that. So sine 98, we know that the pairing 96 is an obtuse angle. Okay, so therefore the acute angle will be 180 subtract with 96. And you will have 84 degrees. Okay, so after this, you can actually solve it, because according to the formula over here, sine A equals to sine of the acute or obtuse angle. Here we have the obtuse, and now we know that the acute angle that will pair 96 is actually 84. So in other words, sine 96 is actually sine 84, which is going to be 0.995, and all of the data is corrected to 3 significant figures. Yeah, and then next, for the next question is, we are asked to find out the value of cos 51 degrees. Okay, so we know that 51 now is an acute angle. So we're going to find for the pairing, which is the obtuse angle. So that means we need to subtract 51, subtract something from 180 in order to have 51. Obviously, we are going to subtract it with 129. Yeah, equals to 51. So this is the one that we are going to use, and we do have that on our data over here. So, but remember, in cosine rule, the acute or the obtuse, the acute will be positive, and the obtuse will always be negative. So we know that cos 129 is negative 0.629. So that means cos 51 is actually negative cos 129. Negative meets negative will be positive 0.629. And last, what happens if we are going to try operating that? Yeah, sine and cosine. So sine 8 subtract with cosine 140 degrees. Okay, so earlier here for the first two questions, we know that first thing that we need to do is actually find the matching obtuse or the acute angles of the questions. So here we're going to find out that 8 is actually 180 subtract with 172, yeah, and 40, 140 is actually 180 subtract with 40. Okay, so in other, we're going to substitute that over here. So it's going to be sine 172. Again, it's going to be easier for us to remember that because either they are acute or obtuse, they will always be positive, so we don't have to care about the positive or negative. But in cosine, yeah, remember that cosine of an obtuse angle will be negative. So if it's already subtract with cosine 140, so it's going to be negative cos 40. Yeah, so we are going to have sine 172 from the table 0.139. Negative meets with negative will be plus 0.766. So at the end, the answer will be 0.905. And that's how you solve the sine and cosine without using calculator.